Hello, my most amazing and awesome artists. Today we're going to be painting our abstract name drawings where we stretched out those letters using ink, and then we used oil pastels to create Zentangle patterns in each of the sections that were created by stretching the letters. Today we are going to be painting over top of that oil pastel. Oil pastel is made out of oil and wax, so that means it's going to resist the paint, creating something called a wax resist. When you're holding your paintbrush to paint, make sure you're holding it above the shiny part. I know it's tempting to hold it on the shiny part, but there is a little spot above it. That's where you hold your paintbrush. When you are painting, we are using tempera cakes. No, not the kind of cake you eat. Is it called a cake because it's a flat little shape of a cake? You need to dance around in the paint and get some water first to make these paints work. Yes, they need to dip in the water and then swirl around in the paint. Make sure you're keeping your paintbrush on its tippy toes. Never ever scooting your paintbrush around on its bottom or its booty, because nobody wants to go to the booty scooting ballet. So make sure not to smash your paintbrush down. Also notice when I'm changing my colors, I wash my paintbrush. I dance around in the paint, I paint with that color, and then I go to the water and swirl it off. If I need to dab on dirty old SpongeBob on the other side of my bowl, I can to get off that color. Make sure my paintbrush is clean. Do not mix the colors in the paint tray. That's no good. Also make sure that you're not tapping your water bowl. You dip if it starts to drip. Wipe it on the lip. No, not your lips. The lip is the edge of the bowl because your neighbor doesn't want paint on them. I'm also trying to keep my paintbrush off of the ink letters because these are going to glow in the black light. They'll glow in the dark. So that means that also it'll glow on the black because the black part won't glow. It will show while the rest is glowing, but if I accidentally get my paint on it, it will show on that black. So I'm going to try to avoid touching my letters when I'm painting. I also want to use colors that pop. So if I had yellow oil pastel pattern in this area, I wouldn't want to paint over top of it with yellow because that would be pointless. I want to make sure that my oil pastel underneath pops. So I pick a color that's opposite on the color wheel, or a couple over. I could look at the color wheel and say, okay, well, yellow is a couple over from reddish pink, so maybe I'll go ahead and use that. It's a darker color. It'll definitely make it pop. When I was painting this area, I know that my pink or my purple, it contrasts with green. Those are complementary colors, so I thought that it would look really good together. I'm also making sure that I don't paint two of the same colors next to each other. I'm not just taking my paintbrush and swiping it across the whole thing. I'm mindfully painting each section. If I have orange oil pastel, I pick blue because those are complementary colors on the color wheel. Blue and orange are complements or opposites on the color wheel, so they look really good together. They make each other pop. They don't mix together, but they look good together. So now I'm going to my green oil pastel, and that really pops with the pink on top because those are complementary colors. Notice the pink on top of the purple doesn't really pop as much because those are analogous colors next to each other on the color wheel. I'm going to go ahead and work on mine and fill in all of my spots, doing my best job with the paint. Wow, it looks amazing in the black light. These are going to be a part of our glow gallery. Make sure that you paint every spot besides the ink lettering. That way it is sure to glow. We use those oil pastels and then that paint on top, and it's really going to glow. Make sure you hold it with two hands and put it on the drying rack when it's done. Hold it flat like a pizza, and then you can use your black light to tell if there's any dirty spots on your table. I'll be able to tell. The only thing that should be glowing is your water and your paints. Your hands shouldn't be glowing either, because if you use an art wipe to clean them up, then you should be good to go. We'll have some black light checkers checking those hands and tables at the end of class. And nobody should accidentally have any all over their arms or hands, because that doesn't sound quite like an accident. It's okay if your hands are glowing because you were using the oil pastel and the paint. It's not okay if you are a full glowing monster, because that means that you were drawing on yourself. Please don't do that. Now you can see in the light when my painting dried, it kind of looks messy because I actually touched my letters with that paint. That paint dries opaque, and I really can see it in the light. It doesn't look so good, so I had to go back over top of my letters with the ink. In order to not have to do this, because it's more work, and let's be honest, do you want to do more work if you don't have to? Probably not. So in order to not do more work, make sure that you avoid touching those ink letters today. Be very careful with your paintbrush and make sure you clean up after yourself. All right, artists, have an awesome time painting.